I'm here at USAR 2014 at UCLA, and I'm speaking with Tal Galili. Hi, Tal.
Hi.
So you have a really privileged view then into the R community as a whole.
In a sense, I try to remain. I mean, it's very tempting to. I don't know how to say that in English. It's very tempting to be cocky about stuff like that, but I feel like that's a very, very wrong view about it. I feel like it's very difficult to really understand what people are doing. It's very difficult to really understand something so complex as a community of people who are contributing. I barely can say I understand anything. What I do is I am joyful at looking at what people are doing and how they're sharing information. And I can also say in a similar fashion that for me, one of the motivations for dealing with online collaboration in general, which I started doing before I knew R. Mm-hmm. I was more active at the WordPress open source community before I got involved with R, is I think a deep realization that I'm not very smart, and that most people are not very smart, and most of us alone are not worth much. But by coming together and sharing our understandings and collaborating and helping each other, we can make really wonderful things happen. And the problem is, how do you get that wonderful ideal with very selfish people?
Sure.
And blogging is really one of the wonderful solutions for that. I think that because of that, I don't think it's going to die out that fast.
So one of the things that we've been discussing in the Los Angeles R and data science community is the idea of pairing technological people with editors to help them get over, because you'll meet people that are very technological, that when you talk to them, they've had bad experiences putting writing out because all of their writing has been evaluated academically and has been very strictly judged. Or they don't have a voice and haven't developed a voice yet. In your experience, have you found any ways to help encourage people to write? Is there tools or tricks or methods or processes that you discovered to really to tease a little bit of structure out of these folks?
Well, I think I have several things to say about that. First off, the problem of how to get people to write and to use blogs is not something that is unique to our community. It's something that is shared by many, many communities. And I think the WordPress open source project and movement is an incredible project that deals with that question quite often. And there is so many resources for people who are interested in learning how to write. Including in WordPress itself, they have a plugin that it comes built in that does not only spell checking but also checks sentence structures and stuff like that. You can have a look at. There's so many thesaurus out there online, free. I think that the only way, for me, I'm not a native English speaker, and I started writing in English, I think only 5 years ago, maybe something like that. And the only way to do it is just jump in and be forgiving to yourself and know that you'll learn stuff. And also that if it's on your own blog, you can then re-edit your posts and fix the English after. I also think, there are several ways of going about it. One is that you can look at the structure and the way other people are doing it and just get inspiration from that. I think that, for example, many people that come from an academic background are not thinking in a web, you have only 5 seconds to get someone interested sort of way, which I think they should. They should have very compelling, self-explained titles. They should have maybe an abstract which is very tweet-like, short, and to the point explain what they have to offer in this piece of code. They want to have nice, well thought out pictures and graphs and plots in the post to explain and code that helps someone who is not from that background to be able to dive right in and understand what they have to offer. And I think these are general guidelines that I suggest to bloggers and that I see many implement, which is wonderful and lovely. Also to have people help each other. If you can have several people work in the same piece, which is very rare. But if you have that, and if you have that privilege of having maybe editors come in and have a look at your article and help you learn how to edit it to be better, that's great. And WordPress these days has the capacity, just like Wikipedia, to have track changes. So you could have them write a post and then you can have the editor change it and then they could look at track changes.
So you've mentioned WordPress a number of times. I love WordPress. I happen to think it's a fantastic platform. Specifically, it democratizes the web page.
Yes.
You no longer have to be a computer programmer.
That's true.
To be able to put information on the web. That's one of the things that I love so much about a lot of the movement in R, particularly with Knitter and particularly with things like Shiny, is that there's this great undercurrent in technology of democratizing all of these things which have previously been in the space of just a single class of person.
That's true.
In your experience, I'm actually going to ask a slightly nerdy question about WordPress. Have you done anything to integrate WordPress and R?
So when I gave the R bloggers talk, I gave it twice in our conferences. I feel there's not much point in giving a talk about it anymore because I feel like people are aware of it. But at the time I said that one of the big things that I see as what is next was online interactive graphics. I've said it a long time ago, which I don't take credit for thinking about it. I was saying it as something that I see other people are talking about. And also asking how to integrate that in the workflow of creating content and publishing it online. I think that, well, in terms of interactive graphics, there is today so much incredible work being done with getting nice APIs that take our commands, turning them into JavaScript or publishing them in some other fashion or technology and having embedded iframes. I mean, today you have Plotly, you have iCharts, you have Google Viz, you have, what else do you have? Probably a few others that I'm missing, I'm sorry. But you have really incredibly interesting technologies coming forth. I think in that side of interactive graphics, I think that we're still, I mean, the jury is really out. I feel like it's now the very interesting point of different technologies competing and communities forming and clustering around different technologies, and I'm really curious to see what people would end up using. Personally, I played more with Google Viz at the time because that was available, but I think any of the other technologies are as good to play with and try and experiment with. Realistically though, the pipeline of doing that straight from R to WordPress is not as seamless as it should be at the moment. And I've been in touch with Yehoy about NeedR and also with the RStudio people, and I think they're just so busy with so many different other things that they haven't gotten around to really getting a good workflow. I've seen several people attempted doing it, and they've done work that has worked for them, but I was not able to reproduce it. So,
which is another thing altogether, the reproducibility.
Yeah, I think ideally what we want to be able to do is to have a NeedR document with R Markdown and some nice embedded stuff, and to have some code at the beginning that tells you the API to log into WordPress and do it. And it's all available, and there is all the technology is there. Just someone needs to sit down and do the work. I've not done it because usually for the things I do, I write down the code in WordPress. And get a few plots and just copy paste them and it does the job. I'm not even sure that it's that critical to have that workflow, because you want that workflow. For example, when you're doing analysis for a client, you want that workflow to continuously cultivate an end product and to have it back and forth. And with a post, in a sense, you do it after you've done that already.
Sure, that's a good point.
So in a sense, that workflow is not as crucial. I think it would be crucial if you had a team of people all wanting to communicate to each other in that medium and send it out as a WordPress blog post. But I haven't seen that use case yet. So I think that's the reason why it wasn't solved as of yet.
Okay.